Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Earl from the 14 Rings NFC East NFL podcast, and I'm doing the Barbershop Talk with JT. I'm also JT. Just wanted to do a little brief episode where I got a lot on my mind, and I just want to express on how excited I am for the upcoming NFL season with the Dallas Cowboys, and training camp starts next week. Words can't describe my excitement, and I just want to get through with these 3 bullet points. The first one deals with Micah Parsons' contract. There's a situation where Micah, it was actually pretty cool. Micah ended up on the Undertaker's 6 Feet Under podcast, and him and the Undertaker talked about his NFL contract. And the Undertaker pretty much asked him does he think his contract's going to be done. And it's just to the point now, Michael was just point blank. He was professional. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He just pretty much just said that the contract, they were working on his deal last season. And right now, he's looking to pretty much crack the bank, especially with other players getting their contracts like TJ Watt as well as Myles Garrett. One thing Micah said was that front office, they have a tendency to drag out these negotiations, and the reason of the money being high the way that it is that instead of nipping it in the bud early, they want to have headlines when it comes to dragging out these contracts. And it's honestly not fair to the players that pretty much work towards getting a new contract, but just trying to make things easier for the team as a whole so you can get guys in the organization to build a solid Super Bowl roster. And I feel like Micah Parsons is at that point now that he's taken over as the leader, and I'm seeing growth within him. I could not be prouder of him. He's doing a great job becoming that leader. And himself, he pretty much said that he wants to be there for this team. This is the first time him finally getting a chance to fully be a leader. He doesn't want to miss time with these guys. He want to be there at training camp with these guys. Where he did say he's going to be at training camp, the only determination factor is what he's going to do while being at training camp. So if y'all are able to, definitely check out that 6 Feet Under episode with The Undertaker and Micah Parsons. It was a really good episode, and definitely Undertaker is one of my favorite wrestlers. So if those who are WWE fans, definitely follow his podcast on Spotify. The next point, it kind of leads to the first point, is that I really hope Dallas is able to solidify their 53-man roster after training camp as well as the preseason. I want guys to be able to work on competition, work on earning their roster spot instead of it being just handed to them without any competition. And I believe that Coach Schottenheimer is to that point of fully getting that established. But it's one thing that's really just hindering the fact that he really needs everybody on board to get this team where they need to be, and that's Cowboy fans. We all got to stand behind Coach Schottenheimer, Shotty. We got to stand behind him. We got to be by his side, because when the front office start jumping, trying to take over things, we need to have a stronghold where Shotty doesn't lose the momentum, but not losing the fact that he's really trying to build something with this team. This team is special. So he wants to make sure everything is earned. Competition. He's been preaching that since he got hired. Now, I know some people aren't fans of him on the hiring process, but you got to give him the credit on what he's trying to do with this team. This is the most movement that I've seen a coach do with Dallas as a whole. Pretty much, if I could say, maybe Parcells, but maybe even that point, it wasn't to the extent on how much that Schottenheimer has done, really trying to get this team to work together outside of the time just building the culture, building chemistry with each other into that. That's really nice to see, and I think Schottenheimer, he's going to have those punches that he's going to have to endure. Nothing's going to be sunshine and rainbows, but coming out with games where you know your team worked hard on getting the W, but it was a sloppy game. You got things you can work on from that to build the team to be better going into the next game. And I think Schottenheimer is doing a really good job with that. But us as fans, including myself, we got to stand behind Schottenheimer in this, because we need to keep our voices going of hashtag let Shotty cook, hashtag let Shotty coach. Because if we don't do that and the Joneses take over, we fail our head coach. And I don't want that to happen. And I definitely know you Cowboy fans do not want that to happen as well. So we have to get our word out there to get that word out to the Joneses and making sure that it's let Shotty cook, because I think that's going to be the best thing to help this team that from previous coaches really couldn't get a stronghold on for it. And for that, I think Schottenheimer's doing a great job this offseason. I got to see how he does in training camp and in these preseason games. And I think we got our coach for the future. And I think we got a second coming of Jimmy Johnson. Pump the brakes. I don't mean it like that, but someone that could become a Jimmy Johnson if you allow him to do his thing and coach. That's where I'm at it. I'm not saying that he's a full Jimmy Johnson. He's not at that level, but he does have family who has coached in the NFL. Rest in peace to his father, Coach Marty Schottenheimer. And for that, he definitely has that knowledge instilled with him, and his time is now to become a head coach. I think he's taken the years in order to make sure to let that happen, but also patient in line. His time is now, and we got to stand behind him. Another thing that goes along with that point is that we cannot allow politics to take over the roster. I've seen too many seasons where if we had a certain player, that would have got us over the hump. Even in the 3 straight 12-5 seasons under McCarthy, it was politics in there. You're telling me that Dante Fowler was getting more traction, getting to the quarterback, making impact plays more than Dorrance Armstrong, but you start Dorrance Armstrong over Fowler? Come on now. And then you could have gotten Dan Quinn, his linebacker, and Bobby Wagner. But front office, basically Steven, maybe Jerry as well, wanted LVE. Now, Cowboy fans. Now, if you're looking at it, would you have LVE or would you have had Wagner to go with when we drafted Micah Parsons, when we got Oso Odigizula, and we got all these youngsters on the defense? You're telling me he would have been the missing piece to really get this defense over where they needed to go? I'm just saying, we really wanted to put the blame on Quinn, saying playing with smaller linebackers. We really didn't get him the linebacker he really wanted, and that was Wagner. So now Quinn goes to Washington and bring Wagner there, and then they make an immediate impact to the championship game. So something is clearly there where politics really hindered us on seeing what our 12-5 teams could have truly been. The record, nice. It just depends what you do with it after you get that record. So yeah, I digress on that with statement 2. And then my last point in conclusion of this, I got news that there was a source saying that Jadon Blue, rookie running back, Jadon Blue is being lazy in his work ethic. Now, it's kind of funny that in training camp, I'm starting to see this now, especially with Jadon Blue. And I'm like, who came up with this? So I had to look up and see where this was coming from. And a former assistant with the Cowboys, Glenn Smith, states that Jadon Blue has been disturbingly lazy and disruptive lazy with his work ethic, trying to gear up for what he's trying to become a starter. It's just saying that he's basically lazy. And that's the first time of me hearing that. I do understand that in college, he worked really hard in his ethic. So I'm trying to figure out, all of a sudden now he has something dealing with being lazy under his work ethic. One thing I could tell you is that Coach Schottenheimer is not letting laziness affect his running back room. And for you, Jadon, if you're listening to this, your hard work is going to pay off for you to get a roster spot. Nothing is given to you. If you are being lazy, you have 4 other running backs that's here to take your job. And if that's the case, if you're being lazy, you're going to have to show what you're capable of doing. The guy, Glenn Smith, he was a former assistant coach back in the 2000 and 2001 Dallas Cowboys under that Dave Campo regime. I was a kid back then. I was sick to my stomach. Their records were brutal. It was a 10-22 record. I think it was like 4-18 record in what they were trying to do through those 3 seasons that they were there. He was there for 2. All of them were 5-11 records. So if you're telling me that I'm going to take advice of a guy who was on that regime, who had 3 straight 5-11 seasons, to believe that he's talking about a rookie running back that's being lazy, yeah, that's weeble. I really can't see that. But Jadon Blue, you make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to, make noise, make an immediate impact, Go out there and compete. And Mr. Glenn Smith, you should stay home coloring your coloring book and worry about your own thing and stop spreading this negativeness and fake news, the phony stuff. But I digress with that. Thank you for everybody tuned in to this episode of Barbershop Talk with JT. It means a lot to me. I'm continuing to grow as a content creator, as well as continuing to represent the Dallas Cowboys the best way that I can. And I appreciate everybody tuning in to our previous episode of the 14 Rings NFC East podcast. It meant a lot to us, and we're going to continue to grow. And that was our 101 episode, and we're looking to do many more after. You can definitely follow us on our media and socials. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, as well as TikTok. You can also follow us on the social side on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, and TikTok. So thank you for everybody tuning into the Barbershop Talk with JT. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all to the pixels and galaxies and stars above. DC for life, not for short. Take care. Have a blessed day. Much love. JT Wolf out.